There we go. Okay, I'm back. We're not gonna stream Cowboy Bebop, even though that's perfectly legal to do. Also, I'm pretty sure I fixed um the little camera glitches we were having, as well as the um one eardrum audio problem. Let me link this again. I'm not going to be up for too much longer, and I think since I'm in Pacific time, I think most of the people who would watch this are now getting ready to go to sleep. But I'll probably hang out for about 20 minutes or something. Just talk about some anime, maybe, if anyone joins in here. We'll see. I wish this chair actually fit my back better. Okay, let's kind of get this out here, and let's. I think the volume's a bit better now. Yeah, let's talk about some anime if anyone's watching. I think since we can't do Cowboy Bebop. It's not going to happen. Uh, Netflix or YouTube, they won't let me do it. It is perfectly legal to do, but whatever. Um, but yeah, let's talk about some anime. I think the first time that I got into anime was what was my first exposure to it? Good lord, probably probably Sword Art Online. I think probably that. Not that I watched the whole thing, but I was friends with some people online, and I must have been 14 years old, maybe something like that. And this was kind of right before I watched Cowboy Bebop, but I kind of knew what anime was because I'm not gonna get into my backstory or anything, but I wasn't online very much at all. So I kind of knew what anime was, but I wasn't very familiar with it. And my friends were like super into the really mainstream stuff, like Attack on Titan when it first came out, and Sword Art Online, and like I don't know, a couple others that were out as well. I don't probably Naruto. I have no idea, but I was very normie. I didn't even know what most of it was. So one of my friends was like, "Hey, check out Sword Art Online. This will be super cool." So I watched it, and maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but I think that was actually the very first video that I ever made and put on YouTube. Although like the channel it was put onto is long gone now, but I had made like a review or reaction of it because I cringed so hard that I thought I need to show this to somebody else because I can't believe anyone actually watches this as like a show. Because I had seen like cartoons and stuff before, but as an introduction into anime, I thought this is ridiculous that people like this stuff. It was really cringe, and I think I edited it in Windows Movie Maker. And I like it had like the blue transitions and stuff you see in like those really old lyric videos. So I didn't like that very much, and I thought anime was pretty stupid. And then a little bit more convincing from my friends because they're like, "Oh, you like darker stuff, right?" And I was like, I mean, I guess I don't know. I think I'd seen Taxi Driver recently, so I was kind of entering into the Ryan Gosling Drive era of consuming media. So yeah, I was like, yeah, I like darker stuff, and they're like, okay, well, you gotta watch this cool little show called Attack on Titan. So I watched that, and I didn't I still don't like a majority of the anime tropes, like the or like on just how like the girls make sexual moaning every zero point 0.5 seconds or whatever, you know? It's like, oh, delicious banana. And Attack on Titan is pretty full of that, and the really stupid monologues that like go on and on and on, and it feels like filler. But I really enjoyed. I like the visceral energy of it quite a lot, and I thought the art direction was great. And later on, I kind of started watching it as a bit of a guilty pleasure. I still kind of do. I never finished I never finished season 3, but I was very much enjoying that. Um, Hopefully that doesn't spill and electrocute me. But I was very much enjoying um, season 3 of Attack on Titan. Um, I think immediately after I saw like first season of Attack on Titan, that was about the only anime I ever watched, and then uh, almost a year went by, I think, and then um, I wasn't like in the greatest of places at the time, and I was pretty much entirely subsiding. Like just my spirit was entirely subsiding on movies and stuff, and I couldn't afford to really watch a whole ton of them. So I had one Netflix subscription, and then I just literally pirated everything that I could get my hands on. I was watching like 2 movies a day. Like some people drink hard liquor or smoke to keep the pain away. I just would watch movies all the time after I got home from work, and I think it was in a video review, like a YouTube or some crappy YouTube essay or something, about a movie I had seen, which I forget. It had, I think it was Whiplash, maybe, and they were talking about jazz, and they referenced Cowboy Bebop, and as soon as the images were on screen for Cowboy Bebop and the music was playing, it just snapped into my head. It was like burned into my retinas, and I was like, "This looks cool. Like I've never seen anything like this before. Why didn't people tell me that anime could look like this? Like this is what I want to see. This is what I want to achieve, aesthetically." So it actually took me a little bit to find out what it was, because he didn't cite whatever this video was, did not cite what the anime was. They just were showing images of it in the music. So it took a little bit to find it, and then like I got my hands on like a really low quality pirated episode of it, and I sat down to watch it, and I must have watched the same episode, the first episode, back to back, like maybe 15 times or something crazy like that. Just sat there and watched it 15 times in a row, and I was enamored with it. It was like the coolest thing that I'd ever seen in my entire life, and it didn't look cool, but I mean, it didn't just look cool, but it was jazz. Like it got into my soul, and I was like, I need more of this drug. Where can I get more? I watched a couple more episodes in lower quality, but then I saved up some money and I bought the DVD set, and I just had those in this little dinky laptop I had, and I was just playing that like all the time, and that was how I like really got into anime. I was like, if I can find more stuff like Cowboy Bebop, then I'm just never going to watch a live action movie again. So that was about the third-ish anime that I had ever seen in my entire life before. I'm going to just, I don't think anyone actually knows that this is live still. Why is this back online? Is it back online? No? Okay. I'm pretty sure the volume's fixed. Pretty sure. Let me Okay. Um, so let's see. It was Cowboy Bebop, and I think after that, because it was a very small pool of stuff that I was watching at the time, so I can just distinctly count on my hands what I was watching, in terms of the anime. Also, for anyone joining right now, just go back. Maybe I think I've been rambling for like 8 minutes. The audio's fixed. The camera for the most part is fixed. Right now it's on manual focus, so it's annoying because if I do this, now I'm out of focus. But it's the only way to sustain the it's the only way to sustain this without having a little toggle on there that tracking me. I still have to fix that, but otherwise it's all good. Pretty sure the audio is not in one ear anymore. Hello, by the way. Hello, there you are. Hello there, Awesome Pants Films. It's nice to see you talking about anime, but not like the loser stuff. I'm talking about like the really cool stuff. Uh, so anyway, let's see. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop, and I kind of dived into Watanabe. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up in a second, but Wanatabe or Watanabe? I think it's Watanabe. I dived into like Watanabe stuff. I think Space Dandy had just come out, um, and since it was by the same guy and it was all set in space, and I was kind of like looking for a void to fill after Cowboy Bebop, I just dived headfirst into that. Um, and I really got a lot of mileage out of that one. Let me tell you, this I want to do like a whole video on Watanabe at some point. My Dune, my Arrakis. We could talk about Dune in a little bit here. I should have titled this something else, but I'm too lazy, and I also should have worked up another thumbnail, but whatever. Um, After kind of getting into Watanabe, though, I was like, okay, I need to diversify my anime portfolio because I was like heavily using IMDb at the time and rating stuff, and I was like, if anyone asks for my top 10 anime list, I'm screwed because all I have are like the 1-star review of Sword Art Online, the 10-star review of Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy, and then like I didn't I hadn't rated it or anything. I was just casually watching it. Attack on Titan. So it's like four. Two of them I didn't really like that much. So um, I like, okay, what else can I watch? So I started. Also, weirdly, whenever I looked up stuff about anime, all I would get was just old blog and forum posts from like 2005, 2008, which is amazing because this was still in the era when the internet wasn't as, like, people didn't care as much about what they put online, so they just like to hell with it, just whatever my opinion is, it's there, it's unfiltered, and I don't really care about changing it too much to like appeal to a demographic or some loser stuff like that. So it was all unfiltered, and there were like a lot of really cool niche recommendations on there. I mean, I went for the more popular stuff, obviously, because I was still kind of new to anime. But I think what I got into right after that was um, Gungrave, uh, Hellsing. I tried getting into Trigun, but that it didn't really gel too much for me. And then, of course, Ava, which is huge. Like, it just that really blew my mind. It wasn't that Ava was cool. It's not. It's terrible. And aesthetically, sometimes it's just like visually ugly to look at. It, in an intentional way, not like, oh, this looks bad. I just mean like it's unsettling way. So it's like the antonym of cool, essentially, you know. But I got into that, and that was like, I wasn't even sure if I liked it at all because it just, most of it flew right over my head, and I don't like saying that about most stuff now. Like, if it flies over my head now, I like to think I'm usually smart enough to catch a couple things. And if it just flies over my head, usually I just kind of take it as this actually is pretentious now. Like, or maybe I'm rating my cognitive ability a bit too highly. But generally, I like, oh, okay, I can see where this is kind of going. But with Ava, most of it just went over my head, and I was like, I'm gonna have to think on this. And I was still in like the Cinema Sins era, where I was like, oh, the technique here, this here, I'll have to like strike half a star from it or something. It's a very lame way watch to watch content. um, but I ended up watching it a couple times, not back to back, just like once every couple months, which is probably more than the average person would, I guess. That was my inner weeb telling me, yeah, you're going to like anime. Uh, and then maybe after Ava, because I started like researching Hideki Anno a bit, and I was like, who's this guy worked for? And I saw he did a keyframe animation on Nausicaa with Miyazaki. He did like all the keyframe animation of the old creatures with like the laser eyes or whatever. He did all that, most of all that stuff. And you can definitely kind of see a bit of his style in those segments that like carries over to Ava with like the Ava units and everything, which I thought was cool. So then I that also made me, when I saw Nausicaa after that, that also kind of made me like research more about the anime industry. And then I like picking out the directors and like recognizing where you can spot their work. And then like after that period, I got heavily into Yoshiaki Kawajiri's stuff. And let me tell you, that man is a monster. Just watching anything he's done is like just someone taking their fist and just fisting you in the eye with what you're watching. It's amazing. Uh, if you've seen anything he's ever done, it's probably been the segment he did from um, Neo Tokyo, 1986, I think, is when that came out, and it's called Running Man. You've probably seen it in like a Lord AMV or something. Very intense, just like. I'm not very good with adjectives. I get high off the emotion of that stuff. But he kind of but I think he founded Madhouse, I think, or he was a co-founder of Madhouse, and I think his first full feature for Madhouse was Wicked City, which is a very dark, very exploitive kind of anime film. Absolutely gorgeous to watch, but just thematically horrendous. And you definitely could not make that. Well, maybe in Japan you could make that, but I feel like even in Japan you would have a little hard. You would have some difficulty making Wicked City in Japan now. That's how extreme it is. And for anyone who's trying to get into Kawajiri's work, I wouldn't really recommend that off the bat to anybody. Wait a little bit until your conscience has been seared a little bit, then get into that. But then you have like Demon City Sengoku, Cyber City Rodeo, Cyber City Odio. Uh, the Dang it, what else did he do? This director that I love, he did Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, which is still one of my favorite horror movies, but visually, oh man, that's like at the peak of anime movies. Honestly, I don't see a lot of people talk about it. I guess just because it is horror, not a lot of people talk about horror themed stuff, really. Um, but oh man, that's good. Uh, what's another director that I really got into? Okay, Masaki Yuasa. Yuasa. Oh man. Man. I thing is, if you ask me to talk about anime, I'm only going to talk about stuff I like because I was so. Even though I watched a whole ton of stuff at one point, and I don't really now as much, but I was very selective in what I was watching. I was like, what? Because I do not want to waste my time on something stupid like Sword Art Online. I really do not want to to do that. Um, so I was like looking like what's gonna fit my style, the stuff that I really like, and usually it was just like weird as it can get. That's what I want. I'm a bit of a freak that way. The weirder it is, the better. But I think I had seen some clips from Ping Pong the animation, and I was like, is this real, or is this like is this a shit post? Like, if you look up Ping Pong the animation, it looks like a child drew some of the frames that are just like on Google Images, and they're like all scraggly and exaggerated and stretched out. So I was like, I don't know. I mean, it looks weird. Let's give it a shot. So I watched it, and I can't really explain how his style works so much. I think the fluidity of his animation is like directly in sync with the thematics of the stories he tells, because he's always about change and like the fluidity of a person's identity, how it's always changing. You know, your body's changing. Like puberty is a huge thing in his movies, and there's like your general identity or whatever. But the style works so well. But as soon as you start watching it, you'd think it would be slow or whatever. At least I thought it would be slow, but it felt like I took a hit of cocaine, and it literally is a ping pong the animation, just going back and forth, and the kinetic energy is entirely off the charts, and you have this banger of a soundtrack playing in the back. I mean, yeah, I can't recommend that enough. But I was like, wow, I need to see more from this guy. And at this point, you know, I'm getting a couple years removed from Cowboy Bebop, and and I'm looking back at it, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd like this as much rewatching it, because it's so tame in comparison to what I've been watching. um, so that was always in like the back of my head, Cowboy Bebop going forward. But with Yuasa, it was great because he was still like regularly making stuff. He's like quite the animal. I think within the past 3 years, he's made 5 projects. We had Devilman Crybaby, which is great. It was like the first Netflix original thing I'd ever seen in my life that I thought was good, which is very ironic considering this is a failed live stream about Netflix's new Cowboy Bebop. So, so Devilman Crybaby was 2018, I believe. Lou Over the Wall, Ride Your Wave, Japan Sinks, and oh wait, no, that's yeah, five in the past 3 years, and then Keep Your Hands Off Azoken. I don't know how to pronounce that, but and all of those were good except for Lou Over the Wall. That was bad. I don't know what was going on there. But even on top of that, that's his recent catalog, which is stacked with good projects. Some of them aren't as good as the others, but mostly good. Then you go back, and then you have I don't know how to pronounce the name of it, the Japanese name of it, but the monster one where like it's kind of like Crybaby in a way. It's like monster. Oh, great. Hang on. my camera. My camera's too hot. My camera's too hot. You're going to have to wait just a second. Okay. Let me, is this back yet? Manual focus. Let's let this cool down a little. Okay. The thing is, I have to fix this somehow, because I have to hit record on my camera. Like the camera physically has to be recording video. Otherwise, it shuts off like every 3 minutes or something, like just times out or whatever. So I'm just going to let it do that for a bit, and then I'll get back to that. But so yeah, you have the monster. And, okay, I'm going to look this up real quick so I don't seem like an idiot. Come on, what is it? Pull up. Come on, let's go. Uh, Yeah, turn back on. The stream's a disaster again. It's Kemon Ozume. Kemon Ozume, which I think is Beast Claw. Beast Claw. That's what it is. Um, and that's fantastic. Then, just off the top of my head, you have Kaiba, which not a lot of people have seen. Even people who are like, "Oh, I'm a fan of Masaki Yuasa. Like, I like that. I like his stuff." They haven't even seen Kaiba, which I would actually say is probably the best thing that he's made yet. Personally, I think. Um, and gosh, Mind Game, which is the big one. That's what most people have seen if they know the name Masaki Yuasa. It's Mind Game. I know that movie is shown a lot in film schools. I think teachers probably just look up colorful anime, cool anime, or okay, or unique anime, and that's like one of the first things that pops up. Uh, so I know a lot of film students have seen that. Uh, yeah, just a phenomenal creator of art. I think he said he's quitting though, or he's retiring. And I do not blame him. He's put out way too much stuff. He really should have taken a break. Um, oh duh. What? And then the most film school thing that he did, which is like a whole deconstruction of people who go to film school, basically saying that they're a bunch of losers, which was the Tommy Galaxy, which I still think is because it's about film school. I think it's a little inherently pretentious, and it's not my favorite of his projects. But like on a technical level, I think that's his best work. Um, Ash Ashkata. No, I did not go to film school. I originally I really wanted to like I wanted to be a director, and I still I want to be a director or make movies, but I feel like if you ask most people, they would also say they want to make movies. Do I have the gumption to make movies? Absolutely not. Probably not. Most people who go to film school do not have what it takes to make movies, and they'll also leave film school with an incredibly naive idea of what it actually takes to make movies still. But when I was very much wanting to be a film director, I was kind of saving for film school. But then I actually started watching more movies and like getting more into the process of filmmaking. And most of the directors who were successful, or most of the directors who were giving master classes or whatever, would almost always say, like, they didn't go to film school. You don't need to go to film school, and you'll probably come out dumber because of it too. Like, it's mostly just due to perseverance and just raw talent. Like Quentin Tarantino didn't go to film school. He's just an insanely talented guy. And he said, like, I agree with him too. I think I probably know more about movie making than most people who've gone to film school for like a year or two. And I'm not trying to blow myself up or anything like that. I'm just having conversations with people who've actually been to film school. I'm like, what do you mean you don't understand? Like, what? Did you not watch any movies while you were in film school, or like what were you studying there? And to me, it just seems weird that you go to a place that teaches you how to make a movie, but you don't even make movies there most of the time. You're like writing essays essentially, or you're writing reviews. You're essentially going to film school to become a film critic, really, which is why there's such a surplus of YouTube film essay makers who are former film school students. And I shouldn't rag on them too much. But I was going to try and save up like 15,000 K to get into like a thing called Film Connection or something. But the more I looked into it, I was like, I don't know. I honestly think I have a better shot at scraping by doing YouTube for a living. Like if I can actually continually make content on here, and I could like once I get to like 1,000 subscribers, I'll open a Patreon and make like I don't know a couple bucks a month. That'll be good enough for me, not to live off of, but creatively that'll be fine. But I think I have a better chance of succeeding on YouTube or as an online creator than I do at joining and succeeding in film school. Yeah, I know, right? Film Connection does sound a little bit like a scam. I mean, it's legit, and I think that they've produced people who did VFX on the Planet of the Apes movies and stuff like that. But like film school in general is mostly just a scam. Again, if you just like look at most filmmakers, especially like back in the day filmmakers, it's like film school. What are you talking about? Like we we like just bled to make this stuff pretty much. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so back to anime. Yeah, make some. Thing is, it's not about making movies, right? Directors aren't making movies. If you talk to Martin Scorsese, I think, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but if you ask him like, "What's your passion in life?" If he like, if he dissected the question, he wouldn't be telling you, "My passion in life is making movies," because movies are just content. What you want to make is art. That's what you want to make. You want to create something, and if it happens to fit in that format, that's great. But Martin Scorsese isn't sitting down like, how can I make a movie when he does stuff? He's like, how can I tell a story or convey an experience? And a lot of people, I think, could need to realize that, because you can do that with pretty much any format, really. With Scorsese, it just happened to be film, but you can also do that, I think, or you used to be able to do that on YouTube or with books or with music and stuff, because it isn't about the format. It's about you, like what you're putting into the format. You're not trying to stretch and reach a format. You're making your own thing that fits into that format, or whatever. I don't know. I do not know what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, I thing is Ashkata says so you're much more interested in direction than screenwriting, which yeah, yeah, I suppose so. I think, at least partially. I'm very good at creating stories in my head and stuff, but whenever I've tried to write stuff down, it loses me. When I my the poll of videos that I have on this channel, of the four videos I have, which isn't like a whole ton, and they're pretty short. Um, I wasn't able to write those. I would write little like notes, and then I would ad lib everything, or I would like sit in a dark corner and I would just go through my mind, like I would storyboard everything in my head. And this recent video that I'm working on, and I'm probably shooting myself in the foot by talking about it all, because then I'm losing the drive to make it. Um, would never talk about the stuff that you're doing as a project, because as soon as you talk about it, you're going to lose the motivation to do it, because you're getting this temporary like satisfaction after you've released it. Great, thank you. Camera internal temperature has increased. I am very sexy. Come on, man. Um, but yeah, with his recent video I'm doing, which is about physical media, like the importance of physical media, and that's probably what it's just going to be called too. I know you can't record. Please go away. No, I won't say anything else about it. But I wrote a whole script for it, and I was just like, this is way too static. This isn't gonna work. So I was like, okay, I have to go with my gut on this, because if I don't go with my gut, it's never good enough. And I'm trying to be less of a perfectionist, but I'm kind of going about my day, and I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, and all what I'll do is I'll listen to some music sometimes, but it has to happen just by itself. So then I'm like, I'm feeling really depressed. I'm going to write in this like little journal that I have, which I've just started, and so I start writing, and just like the physical act of writing on paper was like, okay, wait, yes, this is exactly how I'm going to, this is the tone for it. Not that I'm depressed, but like the physicality matters. So I was like, okay, I'm writing it on paper. I'll have like shots of real stuff or real paper. And that's the connection that I made. And I'm like, okay, so yeah. And then the building blocks start, and I'm like, okay, this is great, because now I can actually make something, and I don't need a script. It's all in here. Um, So it's coming along well. There's not a whole lot of it yet, but it will come out at some point. The live streaming was kind of like a buffer or like a filler for that. Um, but yeah, so that will come out at some point. That's my process, and that's why I think I would be more into directorial duties than screenwriting. But I also feel like screenwriting would be cool, especially if you get to bounce ideas off of people. Because I am great if you put me into like a Discord call with somebody or like two people, and they start like giving me ideas or like there's oh, come on, really? It can't be that hot. It really can't. Okay, but the they start talking about stuff. It's like, okay, what if you adjust that? What if you add this? Or like, no, that's stupid. Throw that out. And then like you get again the building block process. I'm really good at that when I'm talking to other people, but just by myself writing, nah, I can't do it. It's great. Look at the streaming quality, man. Now I don't have to be so insecure because I've just got a JPEG over my face. Huh? Oh, there's someone behind me. Where? No, no, I don't see anybody. Someone out the window? No, I don't see anybody. Shut up. It's okay. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's no one else in the room with me. Um. Anyway, yeah. Maybe I have ADHD because I just went off on this huge tangent and now I can't remember what I was actually talking about at the beginning. A mannequin. What? Dude, what are you talking about? There's nothing here. What are you talking about? Um, Mannequin. Nah. Yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, anime. What? So I'm running out of material. Yeah, there's literally nothing there. Nothing there. Yeah, give me some. What's some anime that you guys like or something? I'll look it up and I'll tell you whether or not it looks cool. What are um? This is great, man. People are like, the future is like Black Mirror, and it's like, yeah, if Black Mirror was retarded, that's exactly what the future would be like. This is the future. Um, uh, okay, if you go back to the beginning of this stream, which is not god awful like the other stream preceding it, I go on and on about how I got into anime at the start and like chronologically the stuff that I had watched, which Sword Art Online was the first anime that I had ever seen, and it was the first video that I had ever made anything about. I edited it on Windows Movie Maker, and it was it was a huge cringe fest. I was like 14 years old, I think, or whatever. It was pretty bad. Um, Mobile Suit Gundam, Twilight Q. Twilight Q. What is this? Uh, Twilight Q. What do we got? This looks old. What is this? 1987. Okay, it's kind of like I like this poster. This is neat. I like older style, so I might have to check this out. Although you're saying the first episode, okay, it's an OVA or something? Dude, bruh, just come on. I didn't spend like like $1,500 on this camera for it to constantly overheat. Japanese Twilight Zone. Okay, this sucks. Okay, each episode is its own story. Uh, Full Metal Panic. Right now, I've been trying to because my metabolism for watching anime has slowed down incredibly. So, um, and my thought is just gone. Oh yeah, what I've been trying to watch for like the past 8 months now, I think, has been is it Soul Taker, Soul Eater? I think it's the Soul Taker. That's what it is. And I forget who's like involved in the production in it or whatever, but I remember seeing them and they did something in another anime, and I was like, okay, this guy looks really interesting. I need to see his stuff. But I think I've watched the first 4 episodes of that, and it's like got a really really interesting way that it's edited. Um, no, yeah, it's just the Soul Taker, yeah. But it's got this really interesting way that it's edited. It's all very. It's like if I hate using David Lynch as a comparison because everyone thinks that, oh, he's so weird or whatever. Yeah, the Soul Taker, that's what it is. Yeah, and I hate using David Lynch as a comparison. But when I say it's edited like David Lynch, I don't mean that it's weird. I just mean that it has a very unique way of being edited. Like the flow of it, it is such a great segue between images. Like it's constantly like interweaving between the images. Like a lot of great match cuts and just like a very very interesting visual style to it. At least in the first 3 episodes, I've really enjoyed it. But it's taken me 8 months to watch it though, just because I haven't fallen out of love with anime. I'll just constantly rewatch old stuff, and I don't have much incentive to watch new stuff now, because basically what I've done is I've scoured the internet for like all the cool pre 2000s or like pre 2010s stuff. I think the last thing I watched to completion was Shiguri Death Frenzy, which was done by the guy who directed Techno Lies. And was he also associated with Hanbei Renmei or Renmei? I I have an ice pack actually just right down here because I had a fever this morning. Um, Thank you, great advice. It just fell off, but whatever. Um, but yeah, last thing I saw to completion was Death Frenzy, and uh, and again, my brain goes empty. um, what was I talking about? Chat, please remind me. What do we have here? Sturgill Simpson presents Sound and Fury. It's a cacophony of visuals and sound, and it rocks. Man, that does sound pretty cool. I'm gonna have to archive this. Okay. Um, this is interesting though. There's the Soul. Okay, I was talking about Soul Taker. Oh yeah, I was talking about how I've not fallen out of love with anime, but okay, yeah. The current landscape of anime, it just feels somewhat bleak. I'm sure that there's a lot of good shows that are kind of falling through my fingers or whatever. Within recent memory, I think Land of the Lustrous was good. The Abyss was good. I didn't like it, but like it looked cool. I guess One Punch Man and My Hero Academia. I don't know. I'm really struggling. The modern projects by like anime auteurs like Yuasa with Ezoken, or again I'm butchering that. I'm not Japanese. I'm a filthy filthy kaijin daijin. I don't even know what the word is. Here, okay. Be good. Be kind to me. There we go. I'm not really into the cutesy stuff at all, and I feel like tropes have gotten worse. I know people will say, "Oh, they're yeah, Gaijin, thank you." People will say that like, oh, there were tropes back then too. There's not really any difference between anime now and then in any era, and everyone's always said that there were way too many tropes or whatever. But I find the tropes more tolerable in older anime than in this stuff. At least I don't know, like ideologically, I guess there's too much harem stuff. There's too many kind of like weak Shinji clones who are, I don't know, who just have like 15 women following them around, and everyone is like, I don't know, either androgynous or or they're all just like cutesy, bug-eyed, kind of like semi-moe stuff, and that's really isn't my thing. Come on. Um. Uh. So I don't know. Not really my cup of tea. Um. One, I think it's done airing now. One show that I actually really liked, but I have a weird story behind this one, and I wasn't able to finish it. Was March Comes In Like a Lion, and you, yeah, I know. Okay. Was March Comes In Like a Lion, and I only watched the first 6 episodes, but this is so weird. There was something about it that like I was on the verge of tears after like getting only a couple minutes into every single episode. I don't know why it moved me so much, but it was actually just painful to wait. I Yeah, I own one. Is this a scene? No, what is this? What model is this? I don't know. This is a Logitech. I've had this for a couple of years now. It's probably not that model. Um, but yeah, I could not finish it, and I felt like such a crybaby trying to get through it. But some things are just too painful to watch. I think maybe this isn't for everybody, but depending on what's happened to you in life and stuff, sometimes it's like it's a good idea to have like an emotional outlet for things. Um, but like you shouldn't like subject yourself to stuff that is just like legitimately too painful or too emotionally resonant all of the time. And I'm not saying that what happens to the characters in March Comes In Like a Lion is identical to stuff that I've gone through. I'm not saying that, but just in general, if you understand what I mean. But that's a one modern anime I really love, but I'll probably never finish it. um, yeah, yeah. This is a good camera for like I don't know dark web Discord calls or whatever. But I don't. This is probably compressed to hell on YouTube. It looks much better in OBS than in the studio preview over there. Yes, thank you, camera. I appreciate that. Great. That just shows my LGBTQ support right there. Thank you, camera. Um, I didn't know my DSLR was queer coded. Um, to Your Eternity. Is that by Makoto Shinkai? Or no? No, that's not. That's not a movie. I mean, it's a series because you dropped it. To Your Eternity. Oh, so wait, is it? Here, hang on. Anime. What do we got? That looks kind of cool. See, this is some of the stuff that I think that is actually just slipping through my fingers. Um, oh, great. Rio Force just ruined it for me because I did. He's like, yeah, it's by the same director as A Silent Voice. Yeah, I did not like it. I didn't like it's a silent voice. It was way too. I mean, like film in general is emotionally manipulative, but that was just like Yeah, I know, yeah. Silent Voice wasn't Shinkai, but he's saying it's the same director as To Your Eternity, not Shinkai. But yeah, Silent Voice was bad. It was Silent Voice was cringe. That's what it was. It was very cringe. I like the character designs was cool, but it was also like here's like a deaf girl who's getting picked on in a school that isn't for deaf people. It's like a normal school. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it was like, look how sad this is. Look how sad. Look how bad this is. Oh no. Um, yeah. I don't. I'm sorry. It's probably too harsh on. It's probably too harsh on that. To Your Eternity is better. Huh. Okay. Well, I will have to check it out at some point then. I probably did miss the point of the film. I'm not on my game all the time. I just remember I saw the first half hour of it, and I just kept I wasn't I just wasn't in the headspace at all. That's probably what it was. No, I love deaf people. Deaf people are hilarious. Um, to be fair though, most stuff that I do not like, or like strongly dislike, like a silent voice, usually I always end up giving them another try. And I don't love them, but I'll usually end up liking or appreciating them a bit more. So it might be high time to just watch a silent voice again. It's not that everything has to be super deep or like super complex for me to enjoy. I just felt it was a bit. Um, I don't even know how to describe it. It felt like I was watching Saw, but if Saw was about em, like just emotional distress instead of physical. Yeah, I didn't see after that. So I guess if it does get better after that and it like makes it like retroactively makes it better, then I didn't give it enough time, which is bad on my part then. So I'll have to give it another shot. Although I just something about it just I don't know. This is great. You're just listening to a guy on the internet rag on your like on a great movie that you like. Saw, but it's Mo anime girls. Oh yeah, just imagine Jigsaw. You know, he's just like this massive weeb, and like his greatest fantasy is to torture. No, man, this actually got dark really fast. Never mind. But instead of the Saw mask, he has like cat girl headphones on, and he's got like the gamer girl pink thigh high socks on, like his little puppet. It's just like an anime femboy puppet on a tricycle. It's like wheeled out like, hello, I hear you want to play a game. You spend your whole life, what? Watch, watching hentai online. Now it's time to pay for your crimes. No, most of film YouTube are guys on the internet who rag on movies for views. Wait, no, that's just the same thing, isn't it? I was trying to say something smart there, and failed miserably. Yeah, pretty much, I guess. But I don't really want to be considered a YouTube film guy though. I look just like it though. I have like this unkept facial hair. I look like I just got booted out of film school. I have this stupid beanie on. I don't have it anymore, but I just finished drinking a Starbucks coffee. So I mean, textbook right there. Jigsaw Senpai. I'm sorry I rejected you on Twitch. Please forgive me. It's like, hello, I want to play a game. On the monitor are two streamers. One, 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 if you do not donate enough money to I don't know to me, or if you don't donate enough money, I'll cut your legs off. I'm really tired. I don't have like enough creative energy to sell the bit. Top 10 cinema fails in a silent voice. Number one, it's anime. End of video. No. Yeah, I don't know. Number two, not enough lollies. Um, man, man, the live stream's gotten lazy when you're just living off of the chat for like continual content, continual output. I like, dang, I need a. I had a coffee, but yeah, I need a boost now. Wow. Mm. Since this is Cowboy Bebop related, though, um, after they took down the stream, I am so sorry that this camera keeps doing this. Oh well, that's half the chatting section. Yeah, I am new to this whole thing, anyways. Um, but after they took down the stream for copyright, which is really stupid, but whatever. I should have anticipated that, honestly. But I watched a little bit more of it, and it would be actually great. Like it would be a good episode if it wasn't Cowboy Bebop. I think it definitely does have like the stink of your high budget Netflix show with no panache to it at all. Like I don't know. So a lot of people think House of Cards was the like what revolutionized streaming and was like Netflix's first big like its first like large scale show, but the very first big Netflix original, and not big as in like it was big publicly, but just like the first big show they ever did, and it was incredibly high budget too. Was Marco Polo, and I think it got 2 seasons before it was canceled because the ratings were abysmal on it. But it was this incredibly lavish show. Like the attention to detail and the production design and the lighting and the costumes was incredible, but like it was not shot in any interesting way. It was shot like cable TV or whatever. It was just like statically shot. Like the director was like, or the cinematographer was like, oh, "This looks cool. Let's do it like that." Okay, next one, that way. Yeah. Very static, kind of like how like a lot of Game of Thrones felt to me, at least. Like it's very lavish, the production's great, but the artistry behind the camera is like not. It's like entirely depending on what's in front of the camera and not what the camera's doing. So that's what Bebop feels like for the most part, with a little bit more style, but it's nothing comparable to its source material at all. And it would function much better as just another like filler TV show for Netflix. It probably would do better too. Actually, it would have a much better reception because that's essentially what its purpose is. It's just to pad Netflix's back catalog. I don't think anyone made Cowboy Bebop, like the executives didn't greenlight Cowboy Bebop thinking that it would be a huge hit or anything like that. It's purely just it's like a YouTube channel, like we're just pumping out content. It's not like everyone. It's about frequency. It's not about the quality for the most part. So that's yeah. Anyway, I did watch a bit more of it, and yeah, it's interesting. It's I think I'll actually watch most of it. I think. Um, yeah, Keanu Reeves was going to be Spike at one point. I can't remember who was going to direct it, but he was definitely interested in it. And wait, he the guy who wrote Cowboy Bebop was the guy who wrote Cowboy Bebop was the guy who wrote Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Was that 2014? Man, I feel old. Wow. That's great. That doesn't surprise me at all. I actually had a lot more fun watching that in the theater than I did watching most of this first episode. So I I mean, it was Michael Bay though, or no, he didn't direct it. He produced it, right? I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Um, yeah. Okay. I'm backtracking here. Keanu Reeves was, yeah, he was attached to do it. I think back in 2006, maybe. Yeah. I think that was about it though. That was like one big name that they had, and I think what was it, Lionsgate was trying to do it. Maybe I think it was Lionsgate, but I mean, like it went nowhere. I actually think it would have gone better. Like, could you imagine a 2006 like heavily steeped in the 2000s post Matrix era, right? Starring Keanu Reeves, adaptation of an anime, like, and it's a very grungy anime. So this would be like kind of like emo-y, grungy, starring Keanu Reeves, like a weird amalgamation of stuff, hyper 2000s style. That would actually, in retrospect, we'd probably look back at that movie like, dude, that rocked. And would have it probably have infinitely more style than this, to be honest. Oh yeah, for sure. I bet most people never thought that they'd look back at the 2000s through a lens of nostalgia, or as like you can now make a 2000s period piece, which was what essentially Martin Scorsese did when The Departed came out. Like everyone's like the flip phones or whatever, or like Uncut Gems. Like it has period accurate iPhone technology. That's pretty funny. All right, let's see. Come on, you're not too hot, are you? Yeah. Okay, we're good. Oh, you think it would be worse than this? Oh boy. I don't know, man. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, first off, Keanu Reeves. Second, 2000s camp, right? I look back on the Daredevil movie. Oh, okay. You don't like the 2000s? Okay, I can understand that. For me though, like it's like the residual effects of the 90s awkwardly fading off into the 2010s. Great era, I think. Like I look back at Daredevil now, as well as a couple of friends of mine who are kind of like unironically just enjoyers of the old Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck. I don't know. I just kind of like that stuff. It's nonsensical and it's super cheesy, but at least it has something. Everything is so sterilized now, which is what this show is. Or again, that's bad of me to say though, because I haven't seen the whole thing. So let me see most of it, and then I can actually like, I'll like tweet about it and be like, oh, Cowboy Bebop, it has this, but it lacks that, and it isn't this. That'll be what I tweet. Speaking of which, though, Keanu Reeves kind of wants to do a sequel to Constantine. I think that was 2009, 2008, and I really enjoyed that. Script wasn't great, but like it like weirdly had like Bergman influenced cinematography. It's like some of the best cinematography I've ever seen in a graphic novel or superhero movie. Um, just really weird. Uh, and if they could bring that same level of artistry to a new Constantine movie starring Keanu Reeves now, I like sign me up. I'd be right there, honestly. I mean, I'll be right there for the Matrix. I'll be right there for Constantine too if they ever do that. Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah, you couldn't get Gone in 60 Seconds today. Not because it has material that they wouldn't make, but it's because the profit margins wouldn't be big enough. There's no like mid tier or mid budget films anymore, not really. And if they are, usually they're kind of just like crappy stuff that gets dumped onto streaming as content filler. So, um, yeah, pretty much. Like that's why Nicolas Cage isn't in those movies anymore. It's not because they just stopped liking Nicolas Cage. It's because that kind of blockbuster they fell out of love with it. Like people are like, oh, the fall of Nicolas Cage. Now he's in like indie films and direct to DVD films. It's not because studios didn't want to work with Nicolas Cage anymore. It's that he just wouldn't make as much money in these specific types of films, or whatever. So, I mean, that's why. Although, to be honest, I kind of appreciate that that ended up happening, at least for Nicolas Cage. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten Mandy or Pig or The Color Out of Space or, I mean, even though I really didn't like it, Prisoners of the Ghostland. That wouldn't have come out in the 2000s. So, wait, oh yeah, there was a Constantine series, wasn't there, with Matt Ryan? I think. Yeah. Okay. I've never really gotten into superhero TV that much outside of like Daredevil. And since we are talking about anime, I did try to get into My Hero Academia, but I just didn't really like the overacting and the tropes. And it's like, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best hero in the world. Or like, I cleaned up this whole beach in like 5 minutes through pure will or whatever. I don't know. To me, it just seems like, a kid's gonna watch My Hero Academia and he's gonna get psyched out of his mind. Like, that kid is going to grow up to be a great kid if he watches My Hero Academia. I, however, am a 23-year-old man, and I'm not really going to get much value out of this as I could. Although, to be fair, I love Winnie the Pooh, so that logic doesn't really stack up. But whatever. Uh, oh man. Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's fine. I'm just not gonna be a huge fan of it. Although, I don't know, shonen though. I did. It was Psychopaths shonen. No, that's not shonen. What am I? No, what am I thinking? No. Winnie the Pooh is shonen. Yeah. Um, was One Punch Man, was that shonen? Kind of, not really. It was like a satire of that, which is why I kind of appreciated it more, I guess. Um, to me, it's weird though. Like, anime in general has so much stuff that's aimed at teenagers that adults just um consume just rapidly. And I'm well, maybe that's not too weird because I don't know, in Western stuff people do that all the time. Pixar is essentially, it's not shonen, but it really is just kids movies gift wrapped for adults. That way you can get the best of both worlds. But I think in Pixar's case, you never get a good, like the best world. You're getting the best of both and something that's okay. I mean, in more recent stuff. Um, Shonen is a demographic, not a genre. Okay, that just goes to show how much I know about anime after talking myself up about liking it so much. Okay, that's fair. Um, Dang, what? Oh yeah, like Star Wars movies and stuff. Now that's saying like, oh, it's just for kids and like adults shouldn't watch it, but then you have kind of like Western weebs who are just Star Wars fans, pretty much, or like MCU fans and Star Wars fans are just the Western like, if weebs liked American movies, that is what they would be. Or I guess you have Westaboos in Japan. Maybe they're all like, oh, Star Wars, or like they. That's no, my camera. No, don't let me go out while I'm making racially insensitive jests. Those were jokes. Please, I know they weren't funny. Don't cancel me. Okay, whatever. That's honestly, yeah, Westaboos. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's great. Um, I'm so sorry. This is such a disaster. Although at least the audio was okay. Um, Thank you all for watching this. There is content. No, I don't like using that word, content. There's art. There's art coming. There's stuff coming. It'll be a little bit until it gets out, but I am active behind the scenes, and I do appreciate anyone who's watched my stuff. I think it's actually crazy that I have like 40 subscribers, and I've gotten like 100 views, 200 views on like the short, but 100 views on average for each video. And I've been on other channels with like 1,000 or more than that. for subscribers, and that it consistently gets less views. So it's crazy the support that I've seen. So I appreciate that quite a lot, and I generally can't say thank you enough. So thank you very much. End of stream.